We recently reviewed 3 mid-range load cell pedal sets for you and highlighted how important pedals are for modulation and that consistent lap times are usually achieved by getting a good feel for the brakes. The Moza CRP2 was included, and a big plus for us was its customizability through the performance kit with different elastomer blocks and springs to simulate different racing classes. Little did we know, a short time later a package from Finland would arrive. It was from Simucube. They offer probably the most expensive consumer pedals in the world, which for many sim racers is nothing less than the next big leap in technology. After we used potentiometer, hall sensor, load cell and hydraulic pedals for many years, Simucube has gone one step further and uses a motorized actuator in combination with clever software that allows us to create almost any pedal feel with numerous additional features and effects with just a few clicks of your mouse. After a first test at Sim Formula Europe earlier this year, we are looking forward to mounting 2 of the Simucube ActivePedal Ultimates on our future high-end rig and sharing our experiences with you. Is it so incredibly good that it justifies the price of well over 2,000 euros or US dollars per pedal? Let's find out. Welcome back to Overtake. I'm Michel and I almost fell off my chair when I first heard the price. Let's face it, that's really a lot of money, and no matter how deep into the hobby you are, most people won't be able or willing to afford something like this, no matter how revolutionary it is. When you can get really good load cells or hydraulic pedals for a fifth or a third of the price. The first piece of good news, however, is that the technology is already getting cheaper. Just last week, Simucube unveiled a slightly more affordable version that costs around 600 euros less for a single pedal, the ActivePedal Pro. Compared to the Ultimate, as the top flight model is known now and that we are discussing today, it lacks a bit of power. Instead of a maximum pedal force of 170 kg, the Pro version only allows 110 kg, and there is no option to mechanically increase the pedal offset, although the values are not very different overall. More importantly for most people, the Pro has a 3-year warranty instead of the Ultimate's 5 years. The fact that such an expensive product comes with a 5-year guarantee is certainly reassuring. If you're a Simucube ActivePedal owner and you've just stumbled across the 170 kilograms, the pedals were previously rated at 150 kilograms, but this will be increased to 170 with the October software update. Quite interesting. I read on the Simucube Discord that this was probably implemented based on feedback from Formula 2 and Formula 3 drivers who use the active pedals for training and for whom 150 kilogram was not enough. Crazy. This of course shows the direction this is going in. We're talking about a simulator training tool for professionals. The first impression of professionalism is when you unpack the parts. The crates and packaging immediately exude sports equipment charm. The design of the pedals, like that of the Simucube wheelbases, is industrially functional with an absolute no bullshit bulletproof appeal to them. We also use the Simucube base plate, so mounting it on our SimLab rig was easy and very solid. In addition to the Simucube link for connecting the products to the PC, the 2-piece set also includes an Ethernet switch that applies for the Pros and also the Ultimates. And sim rigs are always a bit of a cable mess, and with these pedals it gets even more out of hand. With a bit of cable management, however, it still looks tidy in the end. As we also have a Simucube 2 Pro wheelbase in use with the Velo GT23 wheel. If you have the 2024 version, the Ethernet switch and the Simucube link allows to bundle all these products into a single USB slot. Our wheelbase doesn't have the Ethernet slot yet, so we have like 2 USB slots for our products, but yeah, this would be very handy if you have the 2024 ongoing products. Initial setup using the Simucube Tuner software was also easy. As mentioned above, the pedals can also be adjusted slightly mechanically. If you change this part, you gain some pedal travel but lose the high force option. You then select which function the pedal should perform, throttle, brake or clutch. so you can even get 3 of them. Offsetting between brake and throttle, as often seen in race cars, is also possible via the initial setup. When the active pedals move on their own for the first time during calibration, the hype is real. Just one look at the tuner software shows also the extent of possibilities. From preload, travel force, curves, dead zones, end stop to dampening and friction, everything can be set in one screen at the click of a mouse without tools, without effort. The nice thing about this is that when you press the pedal down, all the changes you make are sent straight to the pedal, so you have a testing function available. It sounds silly, but it's a little bit like magic. One of those moments when engineering and technology really impress you. Especially when you consider that everything is controlled by a motor and the pedal has no organic components such as springs or elastomers, which also leads to almost no maintenance, right? Scrolling down, we come to the force feedback effects, which are also a major feature of this pedal. And here we use the brake pedal as an example. These are all disabled by default. Some may be gimmicks, others may be useful. Let's talk about it. Depending on the game, different effects are available at different frequencies and intensities, a list of which can be found on the Simucube website. Put simply, we can activate and fine-tune vibration effects for different driving situations or vehicle states. For example, when we break into the ABS or traction control range, the pedal provides haptic feedback at the intensity we choose. Sometimes there's even more fine-tuning to them. Of course, this can give you an advantage in some situations, as you intuitively understand what the car is doing much better if you can utilize the feedback in an effective way. This may explain why iRacing, as a very competitive service, does not provide telemetry for traction control activation and brake lockup. Is there maybe a concern that active pedal drivers will have an advantage over conventional pedal drivers at a competitive level? An alternative to brake lockup is otherwise the telemetry independent brake threshold vibration setting. Here I can set a trigger input level from which my pedal will give me some feedback. Application example would be, for example, iRacing Porsche Cup. A car without ABS, where it is important to master the braking technique and where you never fully apply the brakes. If you set the effect to around 65% input, I would say, you have an additional muscle memory trigger additional to force curve or the pedal resistance. There is a big but, as some corners can be braked harder for, or the setup can change the car or the tire temperature, whatever. You need to know exactly what you are doing. And this applies to just about every setting on this pedal. What it helped me a lot with was the ABS feedback, because in most simulators with cars with ABS, you want a certain optimum brake pressure to avoid too much ABS activation, because that can unsettle the car and cost you a few tenths per lap in the worst case. The effect is available in almost every recent sim. It is also quite realistic, I have to say. In WRC, it was a good immersion to have a bit more rattling in the rally car, while using also the G-force and RPM effects, plus the lock-up vibration made the car vibrate a little bit when using the handbrake and stuff. To get most out of every setting, you really need to know what you want from the pedal and how to adapt it to your driving style. At this point, it should be clear that this is not the beginner's pedal. And most of us tend to use exactly one pedal with exactly one pressure point, often for several years. You tend to adapt to the pedal, not the other way around. So you have to rethink and start experimenting. Simucube supports this process of experimenting with several presets, including some from prominent drivers, such as former F1 driver Heikki Kovalainen or Daniel Morad, who has replicated the pedal feel of his real-life AMG GT3. He's also included the RPM effect, which doesn't give you an advantage in terms of driving, but adds a very subtle buzzing as the car speeds up. I was also surprised that the brake pedal feel in the AMG GT3 seems to be way smoother and not as hard as I expected. To be honest, I prefer the preset from Team Redline's Ole Steinbraten as a baseline for GT3 driving, with a way stiffer brake pedal and a bit more pressure to it. But it's a nice to have, the option to just drive the AMG GT3 with a real-life GT3 driver setting. Sometimes it's just about fun and trying things, and this is really a big factor apart from the competitive thought and the desire to improve. You can just have fun with these pedals and try things out. If you are building a simulator that is as immersive as possible, where you can drive different road cars, for example, including an AC or the upcoming AC Evo, where you just want to recreate that realistic feel, this pedal definitely makes that possible. To sum it up, for a significant amount of money, you get pedals with unrivaled adjustability. What other set allows you to adjust the pedal travel from 1 to 62 millimeters with the click of a button? The quality and smoothness of the force effects is also unrivaled, and the consistency and feel of the pedal is second to none. You don't have any elastomers that wear out over time and stuff. If we didn't have the set of two, I would probably only use one active pedal for the brakes and a normal one for the throttle. Simucube also offers compatibility with Heikki, for example. And although the adjustability and TC effects on the throttle were also very convincing. And is there a downside? Maybe. For example, the friction noise this pedal makes, that's a problem if you have family or roommates near your sim racing rig. We are very curious to see if Moza, for example, can match this with their M-Booster ActivePedal, which manufacturers will follow with similar products, and we will also be testing the new Simucube ActivePedal Pro in a few days' time. Now it's your turn. Would such a pedal be an option for you? What is your price threshold to consider investing in one? Do you have one or more active pedals at home, and what is your experience with them? Let us know in the comments, leave us a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our videos. Here's the pedal comparison I mentioned at the beginning, which is in the mid-range of load cell pedals at around 500 to 600 bucks. See you next time.